Hello, everybody. Welcome back. And as you can see, festive Merry Christmas for those people who are celebrating Christmas. Tonight, going to dive back into the material design in XAML project. There is a lot happening. I've put off the 5.0 release for a really bloody long time. And there's just some stuff that needs to happen, specifically around documentation. It came up again of trying to figure out how to use stuff, and things weren't working properly. So I figured, yeah, let's go in. We're going to play with the new stuff, rev some C#12 stuff, talk about some new features. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. And hopefully we'll circle back to the brain teaser in a little bit. It was one that came up this last week during my day job where I made a small boo-boo and walked right into that no reference. So hopefully you spotted it. We'll see. Okay, so material design in XAML for those people who want to follow along. And there is, in particular, aside from this one, Nikolai has started in on building out this fairly cool split button. Now, this is something I have needed and wanted on various other apps that I have built. For anybody who's followed my Simply Budget project, you'll know that I put together something similar to this inside of that project, but I did it in a very user-controlly way. And what this quickly highlighted was the desire to have named color brushes. So with the 5.0 release, we're doing a rename of all the brushes. I'm sorry. There's a shim to make it so it doesn't suck for most people. If you don't want to go through and update your resource strings, but the idea being that right now it can be sometimes fairly difficult if you want to tweak some colors inside of a template, but not all. And what if I want to change, the border on this half of the split button versus the text color are similar? Because right now there's not a lot of individualized type control. Or what if I want to change the color on just the back of the button rather than this one? That type of thing. So the idea being that we want to get to a place where we can do named brushes, and currently that doesn't work real well. So we are going to dive in and take a look. So I was dealing with this stupid Dependabot thing that wouldn't rebase properly. So that's a different problem. So Nikolai had been playing around with various brush overrides and trying to get this to work. And we're going to dive in and do this. And hopefully out of this, I come away with some documentation for how this brush stuff is supposed to work. And hopefully Visual Studio isn't just crashing on me, because it appears to be doing exactly that. So we're just gonna hold tight, real exciting, while it reboots and restarts. I installed the latest preview this morning. I mean, what could have gone wrong? Right? I mean, how bad could it be? How bad could it possibly be? Come on, Visual Studio. Are you going to... You're not going to remember what I asked you to open? Okay. Try this again. Visual Studio. Open my material design project. Pretty please. My calendar is reminding me that I have a stream to do right now. So get right on that part. And on a happy note, new Mountain Dew. Okay, so we have this. Close that up, close that up. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Okay, let's start with the demo app. Let's start with the demo app and just fire this guy up. And we're gonna close some stuff. I was dealing with the auto suggest box. Some of the UI tests were being much more finicky than I would like. So I think they're fixed now. I think they're fixed. Took a little finagling to get it to play nice. Come on. Come on. Go ahead and launch. And real quick, where is this thing inside here? So if I look here, so here to here, it's under the buttons page. Got it. Wonderful. Let's take a look. So if we scroll down here, there we go. So we've got some color overrides, but not quite the degree that we would like. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's take a look in here. So, okay, so here are our split buttons. And for example, this one here is going to be your flat, which I don't know if we necessarily, I don't know how useful the flat split button is, mostly because you could do this today just by putting these next to each other. There's no real UI benefit to the flat button, but we'll see. There's the outline, and then there's just the regular one with some pop-up content. This guy here being reused in multiple places, which is great. And this guy floating through here. So the overrides then that were done were at the very top, I think. Yeah, got it. So this is ultimately what we're looking to be able to achieve. Let's go look at the split button.xaml because that is where the meat and potatoes actually lie. Split button. There we go. Okay. So we have material design, split button background, outline border. This is what we would ultimately want to generate. Now the question is, in an ideal situation, what we would like to see, because for example, this guy lives down here and it gets referenced, and this guy is being picked up here and being rewired from key primary. I'm wondering if this is right or if this is backwards. It feels a little backwards to me. So let's pretend, well, one, let's get these things generating first of all. So inside of the material design project, there's an MD resource gen project. And this guy here, assuming I left it set up properly, has various profiles for generating out stuff. And specifically this generate theming is the one that we're interested in. So when this guy runs, he goes through, and this is one of the big changes in 5.0, generates out all of the various theme brushes and related stuff that we might need. And his input for this comes from right here. Now, the limiting factor here is these light and dark theme colors are only being leveraged for very specific use cases. They aren't forwarding across. So one of the things that this guy generates is down, is it? No, it's, where is it? Actually, you know what? We're just going to do this, and I'm going to run it, and then that will show all the things. We go and look now, view changes. So for example, we've got a new thing here. You'll see that it's edited the light resource theme. It's edited this thing here and built those across, which is fine. That's kind of what we expect. But this ends up not properly forwarding. Now, in an ideal situation, what we would like from this split button situation is we would like to have something of this nature. So I think what we're looking for, let's just come down here and create a new element. We may want to put together like a JSON schema or something for this so that it plays a little nicer. Okay, so I go there, split button background. Okay, and then it's gonna have no obsolete keys, no alternate keys, and we want it to point at, ideally this is what is the ideal brush that we want. So with nothing changing, this is what we're looking for. So if we rerun this, and actually I want to, we did revert that other change, right? Okay, expand. Good. So now if I rerun this guy, so fast, so fast. Okay, so now you see we've got a ton of stuff. So it's built out whole classes for being able to generate these. It's populated both the light and the dark theme stuff. It's generated a split buttons class inside of my theme. So I have split button.color, which is great. That way you can set this up in color. Now this is probably where it's breaking. Theme extensions.g.cs. Because I'm pretty sure what it's referencing there isn't gonna work. And I think this is where there may just need to be a little bit of a rethink that goes on here. Because before, all of these theme brushes weren't tied to the color theme. They were tied to the base theme colors. And this here is where the problem ultimately lies, because, oh, that's a mistake. Static. These base theme colors are your neutrals, your whites, your blacks. They aren't necessarily coming across. Let's see. So set light theme. And I think it just needs to be smart enough to know that this is the primary. The problem is this assumes that it can pull from... This assumes that it can set this up from just the base theme without respect to the color theme. Because this is kind of the issue here, is you can have your base theme of light or dark. However, in this case, if you want the theme to be one of the color themes, that's just not here. And should it be is really the question, because this seems like there's not a good answer here as far as what this should do. This only has 5 references, and I imagine most of them are tests. Yeah, so two usages there and there. Okay, so set base theme. And I think what we want... I think what we really want this thing to be is this dot, or I'm sorry, theme dot primary mid dot color. Like, I think that's actually what we want this thing to generate as. I think that's what we want it to generate as. Is that the right choice? Is that the right choice? Because that does assume a bit of order of operations here as far as when the base theme gets called. Because this guy here... Why does adjust colors not handle the other ones? It has no usages. I'm going to find all kinds of bugs in here tonight. I can just see it now. It's going to be great. I'm kind of wondering... I'm kind of wondering if the actual method here shouldn't be set light, set dark. I'm kind of wondering if a better idea here is... Oh man, it's really tough to know what the right API is. So here's my thinking. I'm thinking it's something along the lines of this: public static void set theme, this theme, right? And then something where it's, okay, Copilot, you are a bloody show off. Do Stupid Copilot. I mean, it's not wrong, but it's still a bloody show off. And I don't think I would default it. And so the key part here is the order of operations of when things get set. Is that confusing to people? Is that confusing? Because the risk factor is the risk factor here is this guy is, oh, you know what we could do? You know what we could do? Theme doesn't have to be built the way that it is. Because this thing here is like a color pair. Hey, Izzy. We're trying to get the theming stuff nailed down on the 5.0 release so I can ship it. That's the short version. There's a PR out here from Nikolai adding in a cool split button control, which is great. But it unfortunately highlighted some issues with the current theming because he wanted to go through and set it up so that it would be 5.0 ready with some custom brushes so that people could customize it to their heart's content. And then pointed out that the current theming stuff does not allow good customization when the theme colors want to use like primary light and dark. I'm kind of wondering if we want to do something a little creative. I'm kind of wondering. So here's the crazy things. So this half of the theme class, you can see the .g.cs is completely generated. This guy here builds up all of this stuff. So there's background, foreground light, validation error, and you can see all of these things are colors. And then, for example, the split button, it generated a class, and inside the class it put a button thing. So it makes it fairly nice when you want to go through and set up the theme, because you start in a happy place all the way through. Great, wonderful. I'm wondering if we want to do something slightly nicer. So here's the crazy idea. What if the properties weren't color? What if we did something like this? Struct or class? Let's do class. We do something like this. Actually, could we do... Well, okay. So here's the idea. All right, so... Holy cow, Copilot. Freaking show off. Yes, Copilot, that is what I want to do with an implicit reference. Thank you for figuring it out. I must have named my stuff well. I'm going to start taking pride in how I name things when I name it well enough that Copilot can literally implement the entire class for me. You suck. Okay, Copilot, how would I do it if I wanted it to be a named reference? Ha! See? Not as smart as you think you are. Because what I'm thinking might be interesting. We only have these theme colors here, right? And I'm imagining something like, actually, here, Copilot, I'll give you a hint. Public enum ref. I don't like any of these names, just to be clear. None. You want to do it, Copilot? You're close. Here's a hint. Secondary light. There's your hint, Copilot. There you go. There you go, Copilot. There you go. See? And just to think, I almost had to write code for this. Okay, now do the constructor for me. That's wrong, Copilot. You suck. See? Ref. And then we'll... oh, ref is a keyword. Shut up. I don't want to think too hard real quick. Right? So what I'm thinking is something to this effect here, and then This operator here does something more akin to this, where it looks up the ref and is able to pull back the appropriate thing. So that rather than reaching in and grabbing this thing, we can assign in something that is color-like, but maybe not actually a color. Kind of what I'm wondering, if that makes sense. Does it make sense? Because we can probably beat this into submission. I mean, there is the question here of how does this guy get a reference back to the theme to be able to reach back and pull it? But I guess maybe we don't even need the implicit operators per se. I mean, they're certainly helpful. There. Because then what we could do is, so for example, we have this color ref test color, right? So we're gonna have something to this effect. And this is part of why I'm wondering if maybe it makes sense to make this a record struct something to that effect, because then our usage up here can be something like theme.testColor gets colors.red, and that works. Theme.testColor gets ref.primary light, right? And then we come down here and we say, hey Copilot, I want one more. See, you suck, Copilot. I'm still the developer, darn it. And then we do something like this, where we go ref like this, right? So now now this code works here. I'm just wondering then, that does mean if somebody pulls this theme instance and goes test color, you know, what I would really like to get back is the value of primary light right there. And we can do some funky stuff in here. Convert to full property. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out how to implement this, and then we'll go edit the generator so that it works. So we do something like this. That goes in there. And we make this thing read-only because mutable structs are a recipe for disaster. Oh yeah, we definitely want you to be a read-only struct. Pretty please. Use sure. Flatten everything up for me. Make it pretty. Okay. Because we know when this assignment here occurs. And so we would know when the that's not bad, Copilot. It's not bad. I mean, you're wrong, but you're getting the idea, Copilot. You're getting the idea. And actually, maybe we don't do it on the setter. Maybe we do it on the getter. Right? So we go here. And we do this instead. If testcolor.ref hang on. We might be onto something here. Let's see. gets value, right? And then we do color, and okay. Otherwise, this is jumping straight into that, which isn't quite what we want because we probably want to maintain the ref. Do we care? Probably we do. We probably do. Because this is passing in and hitting the, so what this is doing here is this is hitting the the conversion from color back. And what we probably want to do instead, we could actually probably change this up. Okay, Copilot, you did such a good job. I'm going to throw away all your code. So what if we did switch test color ref? And actually, I guess we could just do this. Return test color. We can do this. Right? And we can do the else case first. Let's see. What have I done wrong? Hey, Izzy. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. Why can I not do a switch expression? What am I doing wrong here? Undo. Thing, switch. Oh, I'm an idiot and put a lambda in. Don't put a lambda in. There, problem solved. Okay, so default case is there, but if we have ref, say, primary mid, or we'll start with secondary light, right? This guy comes in here, and we do new color ref, and we probably want secondary light dot color. But I'm also thinking that maybe what we do is we do like this. That way we can do like that. Is that a bad idea? It's kind of sucky if every property has to do this lookup. But these lookups only occur once, and then it allows the theme to be mutated in any number of ways. And then it means that our generator, inside of here, where our ugliness is, if this background property were a color ref instead, rather than a color, kind of like this idea. Not sure I really like it, but I kind of like it. Okay, let's flush this out a little more. We've proven that it compiles. Like that's a step in the right direction. Now, could we dodge this whole enum garbage? Kind of my next thought. Could we dodge the enum? Because it would be nice if I didn't have to do this. That would be an ideal situation. But I need to store something on this that indicates what goes where. So maybe it is required, but can I avoid exposing it? Is really the question. Public static color reference. Can we do this is my first thought. And then hide it. Because this is immutable, we could do this, right? I think we can get I think we can get away with this. Secondary light, and just do that. I think we can do this. This becomes private. We do that. What's your problem here? Ambiguity between color ref and ref. Oh. Okay, let's fix this. Theme reference. That goes like that. You obviously become private. You probably don't need to exist. So that gets us to there, because now we can have this. And then we could do this. And I think then I can do color reference secondary light. Oh, it wants a constant. That is going to be a problem. Because without the enum to compare against, this doesn't work. That doesn't fully work. I could internal it. I don't think I like that as much. Because I've been trying, like, I always hate when people make things internal. Because it's annoying. It's kind of annoying. But there needs to be a match here. If we did do this, that can go back there. Theme reference. And there's nothing stopping me from putting this back now. It just needs to be internal. And then obviously the implementation needs to not suck. And then we're kind of back where we were, but and all we've done is really nest an enum and make it hidden. It does slightly clean up over here because this becomes color reference, secondary light. I mean, obviously this would become primary mid instead. That, how bad is that? Versus having these things be real lightweight. Because the alternative here is we have to force people to make calls in an appropriate order. Or risk not setting it. Because the real crux of the problem here is set light, set dark aren't going to work. Now, if we forced people into something like this, that works. I guess then, because, and so let me rephrase, set base theme is kind of where it comes down to, but set base theme calls set light, set dark. But the issue here is, because these are auto generated for set light and set dark, if this call here needs to look out and instead of this be this or I'm sorry, theme dot primary mid dot color, right? The problem comes is if somebody changes primary mid after the fact. Because then this helper method doesn't quite do what they expect. I'm wondering how bad of an idea that is to take away, because if you call something like set primary color, but then don't recall set base theme, doesn't apply. Boy, I'm wondering if I should take away the ability for doing that, or if I should have the base theme have a different, or make all of the properties not be normal properties anymore. And be something slightly different than just a basic color. What's the disadvantages of each? Okay, if we change the property off of the type of color, serialization could potentially be an issue for somebody if somebody wants to try to serialize this theme class. And I kind of liked it being a POCO. However, you probably shouldn't serialize this class, because any updates to the library could add more properties to this, and your serialization would then fail. So it's better to not be serializing. So that's not that big of a negative. Okay. Other disadvantage of changing the type is that the properties are going to be arguably slower. There's now a switch expression on every single property access. How big of an issue is that? That could be an issue when applying a theme, because to apply a theme, it has to go through and access all of those properties. We could have it not do the lookup of the color on the getter. That's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. So what if, okay, so back to this idea. All right, so what if it didn't do the lookup on the getter? All right, so rather than doing this lookup here, we just leave this guy as is. Well, but if we don't do the lookup on the getter, people can't use the implicit conversion to color. It means this line of code doesn't work. That's interesting. That is interesting. I kind of want that to work, because people expect to be able to pull that up and look at it. I mean, the pros of doing this are we can get this kind of syntax to work, which is pretty slick. Pretty slick. I think what we probably do, though, is we pull this sucker out. We probably make this guy public. We leave this guy off, I think. Yeah, and we kind of make we expect people to, rather than doing this, we expect them to go color reference, secondary light, and maybe we move these properties to a different class. where it's you type like theme color reference or whatever, right? Like that's an easy thing to do. Keeping it all in one place isn't that bad either. So if we do that, this is highly convenient. And I do a I could do this. We could do this. That eliminates this. At this point, there's no reason to have it internal. And then at this point, this thing just, well, this is only expected to be called from here, so we can actually just do it right here. Theme reference none, and do it that way. And then this doesn't need to exist anymore. And then this can be colors dot. Oh, there isn't a none here. Do that though. What should do? Would a tuple be useful on getter value trigger only determine the trigger change the value set? That's an interesting idea. Because that is an interesting. Oh, so this doesn't work now either, does it? That goes like that. That goes like that. That goes like that. This becomes more like this. I don't know if I like the idea of a tuple. The big disadvantage there is value tuple inside of .NET is mutable, and I very much want this read only, because part of how this works is it's abusing the fact that it knows that between the setter and the getter, no one can mutate this reference. Right? If I try to do something like test color dot color gets colors red, right? No worky, which is highly convenient here. I'm just really wondering if I want to end up with this kind of switch expression in every single property getter. I mean, we can burn some of this down a little bit and have some helper methods, right? Like we could do, private color reference resolve, all right, and then we move this whole thing into here. It goes here, and we go with color reference, and we do this maneuver. Let's see, boom, boom, and then the getter now becomes simpler. Right, we have something like resolve test color, but I don't know, like this gets us back down to simple looking properties, but yeah, hidden trigger property. That's kind of the idea, because what I really would like to see, like I want to be able to have a property on the theme that is either an explicit color or a reference to another color. And I think the only two options available to me are I change the type, and we kind of already have some precedents for changing the type, because we've got this guy here, this color pair. And actually, while I'm in here, we're going to change a bunch of stuff. We can do this. And you now go, you go away. This becomes a this color null. And you go away. That, I think, makes my life easier. Aside from the fact that primary constructors aren't available in C# 11. So let's talk C# 12. Where I think I have a build props, Lang version. I heard Lang version 12. Let's use the new stuff. So something worth noting with .NET 8 dropping. In general, you don't have to rev up your libraries to .NET 8 if you don't want to. Now, if you're building an app, you probably want to, from the standpoint of there's some nice like performance benefits and whatnot that come in just by revving your app to .NET 8. And if you've already been on .NET 7, change the 7 to an 8 and you're off to the races. There's here, real quick. Breaking changes in .NET 8. So let's, real quick, there are like very, very few. So one, it's worth noting what specific area that you're talking about. You'll note WPF doesn't show up because there are none, right? So if we look at like core .NET libraries of stuff that you may be using, very few of these things are things that are hopefully none of this is behavior that you're dependent upon. In general, they're kind of esoteric things, and in the most cases, it's make the thing work the way you already expect it does. Backslashes, file streams not writing, legacy console read key removed, hallelujah. Windows style being properly honored, those types of things. There's really not that many breaking changes buried inside of all of these. So for what it's worth, there's it's very small. And actually, if anybody wants it, there's a link. So, and again, you gotta pick on a few things, but like these types of things is very, very small. Like how many people did type of delegate pointer for void? Like that's not a real common thing. Most people don't know that this compiles, but only with unsafe turned on. Oh yes, the PR finally merged. Hallelujah. Okay, so that should get us off of that ugly problem. So if you're building an app, revving to .NET 8 is a good idea. At minimum, if you are able to adjust your tooling so that the Lang version is 12, that way you can use the latest C# goodness. Now, there's always certain changes that do require framework updates. But little things like, I want the primary constructor feature, turn it up. Let's see, long term no see, thanks for you. I used it back around the time you took it over and made a big project with it, helped me into a bigger and better career. Oh, awesome, son. That is always great to hear. I love hearing people's success stories. Okay, so we're gonna compile real quick just to make sure we're still in the compiling state. The other thing that you'll note is this demo project. Like this is how we can verify that we haven't broken back compat in any way, is we're still compiling against framework, net 6, net 7. Now, some of these things may just be breaking. Color pair does not contain a definition for color. Well, that just doesn't sound right. This is the part where I discover that primary constructors aren't available. Oh, I bet you it's different on the, hang on. We're going to check one thing real quick. So specifically what I am looking at, this right here. When you multi-target, it's important to note that sometimes a build error is only for a particular target. So for example, an easy way to kind of test and see if this is tied to a particular build is you can change up here which of your target frameworks you want to actually be going against. And I think in this case, because primary constructors, what they do is they generate a field behind the scenes that you then have to go and expose, which that's fine. We can do this. So I believe the ID here is public color. Parameter color is unread. I'm trying to remember. Okay. New syntax, C# 12 primary constructors. Let's go take a look, because new stuff, new syntax. Yeah. Hush. Okay, so, oh, that's right. So the issue is I have named these things like that, and I need to name them like that. That way there's no longer any ambiguity. Problem solved. So this is one of those areas where the .NET team has conveniently added a feature and has screwed up people's naming conventions. Because oftentimes people have a different naming convention for their backing fields as they do their constructor parameters. For example, if I do a this dot here, we will find, well, let's go public void foo. Right. So if we come in here, oh, interesting, it's hidden it away from me. Oh, I am lying to people. Hang on, what happens if I do this? No. No. I'm thinking this is an IntelliSense issue. Okay, what am I missing? Let's see, public read-only struct. Let's see. Initializes two read-only properties that are computed from primary constructor parameters. Let's see. Primary constructor parameters may not be stored if they aren't needed. They aren't members of the class. Oh, that's what I'm doing stupid. And can't be accessed with this dot. Got it. That's why I'm being stupid. So I did have it right. Okay. I don't know if that was true in all instances of... I feel like I was playing with preview versions of .NET 8 where that wasn't necessarily always true, and they were accessible inside of other methods, which was weird. But okay, that should get us back into a compiling state. Crossing fingers. And I realize I am powwowing on a branch, but at some point we're going to. Okay, so we got a couple errors, but they are all off in. Let me scroll. External init is not defined. Oh, I would like to. Actually, I think we can do it this way. So the is external init. This guy. So this is a magical attribute that allows things like init properties. So rather than get set, get init. Because what actually happens behind the scenes is when you declare a property with init rather than a set, there's still a property getter and a property setter behind the scenes. But when you invoke a method in C#, there's this optional thing that can go along called modrec, MODREQ. And it requires the caller to have an attribute on the invocation in order for it to work. Now, there's no C# syntax for doing this, but it's how several C# features are implemented. So in order for a caller to call the init setter, it has to have that attribute tacked on. The way that ends up functionally being implemented is the compiler then only will tack that attribute onto invocations that assign to this property that are inside of an initializer, guaranteeing that that ends up working. Now, it's also how you get backwards compatibility and why getInit works with serializers, because things like reflection don't care about that. And you can just reflect straight on this property, pull its setter out and invoke it. It's perfectly fine with that, which means if people have serialization code, it works just fine. It also means that older code, because it's being enforced by the compiler, if you have an old enough compiler that doesn't know anything about the modrec, it'll also work. So you get backwards compatibility. So it's a very interesting and clever way of getting around things. It also means you can blatantly cheat. So for example, the issue being right now that it's squawking at, we're going to comment this one out. Just a little, let's get ourselves down to, comment this. Let's get ourselves down to just the one error, and then we'll deal with it. So here's how you can do it in older.net. So this guy should go through and give me the same error about external init. Yeah, so it's now unhappy because I've done this, and it's like, hang on, I need to be able to generate an init property, but that doesn't exist. And the key thing here to note is it doesn't exist, but only for my .NET 462 target. Right, so it's an error there. If I change this to 462, now I get my red squigglies. If I look at net 6 or net 8 or net 7, I'm fine, because that attribute is declared inside of the base class libraries. So, dirty trick, you come over here and you go, hey, I would really like the external init attribute that the compiler is looking for. So if anybody wants it, it's right there. Actually, this is a weird place for it. Just bump everyone off the lower versions. If only that were an option. And what we will do, we will come over here, and we are going to go. Trying to think of where the right place is to put this. We're gonna put it. We're gonna make a new file, and then we're gonna immediately move it, because where I want to put it isn't inside of a project. Wait, this is such a hack. No. This is abusing the duck typing that is in the compiler. So magic occurs here. So we're gonna put this guy in, and then we're going to pound if net let's see, I want net 462 because that's the only target I want this declared in. And we're going to go end if, and then we're going to go here and we're going to open the containing folder, and we're going to take it right on out of the project. I'm trying to decide where a good common place is. We don't have a good place for this. We're going to make a new folder because I don't see a good place for this. Shims. Paste. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to go, because I suspect I may want this in multiple places. Existing item, and we're going to go up a layer into our shims, highlight, and then since we're talking about split buttons, hit the drop down on your split button, add as link. Okay, now we come over here and it's happy. The compiler is happy. 462, we now have an it. Huzzah. So, because the compiler is like, well, I need to know about this attribute. That attribute doesn't exist in any referenced assembly. We can go, I got you, compiler. Let me insert that attribute for you. And because it matches the right namespace and type name, it's perfectly happy to use it. So there's a number of features like this that you can effectively back compat your way in by shimming it. And I believe I've seen people put NuGet packages together with similar things bundled into them just to shim your way into happiness so that you don't have to think too hard. I don't like taking an extra NuGet dependency inside of a library, inside of an app. Totally fine. Totally fine. Just vet your NuGet packages like normal due diligence stuff. Okay. I think I'm landing on doing some sort of garbage like this. So you could do this with like the nullability. Well, so I'll clarify. You can do this with some features, not all. Nullability is kind of a different animal because there's nothing in the base class library that enables or disables it. It's all compiler analysis. So you kind of have to have the newer compiler. And again, the idea is newer compiler targeting older framework, wanting to leverage newer compiler features. You can make them work. So it's only because the .NET team obviously can't go and add that attribute back into .NET 4.6.2. That's not a thing that's possible. But you can add it into your library or your app and re-enable it. Because nothing in .NET 4.6.2 is going to be using an init keyword. It didn't exist when it was released. That's not a thing. But because your library does exist now, we can be off to the races. So we can get our primary constructors in and working. Huzzah. Do we like this? Is this a reasonable way of dealing with it? It doesn't seem that bad. And this is all new APIs, just to be clear. This is completely new APIs. So the theme class is new APIs. All of this color stuff and generation, brand new APIs inside of the 5.0 project. And it's unreleased, which means if we're going to do something, we can do it now, and I don't have to worry about breaking changes because this is already brand new API, as far as I'm concerned, unreleased outside of preview packages. I kind of like this. It also leaves a nice door open if we want to add anything additional. I know there's some material design libraries also add a tertiary color as well in addition to secondary. I've resisted adding it because all that's going to do is bloat. I like it. We're shipping it. We're doing this. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Okay. So, step one. Let's get off of Nikolai's feature branch. Why stop with tertiary? Because you got to draw a line somewhere. Create branch here. Let's see. More color updates. Boom. Okay. And then I do want to add... So we did switch branches all the way, right? Good. Cool. I'm just surprised it did it so cleanly. I do want to make sure that our library doesn't necessarily need to target .NET 8 yet, but I am going to make it... I'm going to make sure that our demo apps are targeting .NET 8. And actually, you know what? What's end of life on these things? .NET EOL. Okay. because I have a rule that I don't support any version of .NET once it drops end of support. So in case you're wondering how long the material design library is going to support Net 6, Net 7, Net 8, here's your list of dates right here. I will commit to supporting it as long as Microsoft supports that version of .NET. After that, you can assume that I'm dropping support. So Net 7 is still till May of next year. Okay, so we'll leave it all in for now. But short version, Net 6 and Net 7 both die next year, so you should look at alternatives. Definitely look at alternatives. And this is going to break the pipeline and everything and all this stuff, because why not? And like, if we're going to break something, we're going to do it. I don't do it halfway. Okay, so there's that. Okay, demo apps are all rev to Net 8 because why not? Okay, so we want to do... is it worth bringing out the TFMs to a shared props file? Not yet, only because the top level structure of these CS projects, there's not a... All of the projects are one level down from the root of the repo. There's not a way for me to combine the TFMs for just the demo projects without doing some MS Build hackery compared to the other ones. So I think I leave them in here for now, because at present I am revving these independently and I don't want all of them targeting. Like, for example, you'll note the UI tests are already up on Net 8. But I don't, and in fact, and for example, the WPF tests are running against 4.7.2 instead of 4.6.2. So I don't actually have common TFMs across all my projects. So I think that, I think to do it, I would have to change the folder hierarchy to give myself a better way of doing it. So for now, we just rev that. Okay, so step 1, color reference we like. This is obviously needs to be renamed from ref to reference let's call this theme reference. We want to be, and we want this to be like this. We want this to be like this. And then we're going to go with public theme reference, theme. I'm going to do this, like this. Thank you, Copilot. You're just showing off today. Like, you're really trying to prove your worth. Okay. We do this. We do this, right? And we're obviously going to write some tests on this to make sure that this works the way we expect. And by write some tests, we're going to write a template into the generator that's going to write the test for me. Because yes, I am that lazy. Okay, but I think the key thing here is I want all of this, I want this much of the code to work. Now, this... Oh, I broke this. Hey, Copilot, implement it for me. No, that is not right. Public oh, actually, hang on. We're going to try something. Let's see. What is it? It's Alt period? Control period. Nope. Windows period. Dang it. One of you is the talk to code. Alt slash. How silly of me. Okay. Thank you, Benjamin. Implicit conversion to color. Go. Now, could I have typed it in this amount of time? Absolutely. No, Copilot. No, absolutely not. I think you be dumb. And I can only emphasize that strongly. Oh, color.color, and it's going to be makes me think they're giving it still not so great at all, but hopefully it improves. It's actually the chat on the side, in my opinion, worthless. The chat inside of the exception window, mildly better, still pretty much worthless. The inline chat is actually remarkable. So when I was at Ignite, we wrote the entire game of Pong in Python. 5 of us who know no Python, and we did it without actually writing a line of Python. We did it entirely with Copilot inline chat. Now, occasionally we had to do things like this where we would select it and go, explain this, right? And so when you select text, you can feed it better context and get better information out of it. So in that regard, being able to just tell it the context, because there was a number of times where without giving it any context, it was garbage. Like, it doesn't have it's not quite as good as a human that kind of can implicitly follow a train of thought. You have to say, this thing here, see this? It's like you grab the head and point at it. Look, that's the thing. Is rarely work, even in line for me. That's cool. Yeah, and it's not necessarily guaranteed in all cases, but and I'm thinking this should probably just throw new invalid operation exception, and we're gonna try to be useful. Let's do something more like this. Let's see, name of color reference does not contain any color. So now this code works. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to take this, and I think what we're going to do is, I like the idea of generating out in the theme extensions color reference, etc. Because I think what I want to write over here is down here at the bottom. I think what I want to write is color reference primary mid. Like, I think this is what I want to do. I think this is what I want. Right? That way that can go through like that. That can go through like that. These words must begin with uppercase characters. Which IDE? No, see, sometimes, yeah. You can shut up. Is there a fixed naming violation? Naming rule violation. I don't want to name it like that because that changes only the constructor parameter, and that looks stupid. And it's grumble, grumble, grumble. Right? Because when I do new, right, and I look at that, I want the parameter to appear lowercase. If I capitalize it, it makes it appear capitalized for no benefit. Yeah, we're gonna just not do that. Thanks. Okay. So let's implement the rest of these. Oh, actually, hang on. Hang on. Implement the rest of these properties using the other enum members. Okay, Copilot, impress me. Yeah, that's garbage. Try this again. Public static color reference secondary mid get. Tell me when you figure it out. Tell me when you figure it out. Color reference. Do you see the pattern yet? Okay, I'm kind of hoping. I'm hoping IntelliCode figures it out. There we go. See, somebody figured out the pattern. There we go. I believe that's IntelliCode, not Copilot. Copilot, take notes. IntelliCode figured out the pattern. You did not. So when people ask what's better, IntelliCode or Copilot, there's the difference right there. One tries to use like contexty stuff. The other can be completely stupid. And occasionally brilliant and implement whole classes for me. Details. Okay, so let's check. Okay, so we're going to move you out. I think I want to change this and be a little more explicit. Go like that. I think I like that better. I think. Okay, now, IntelliCode, I believe in you. Thank you. Remember back when we had to like write code ourselves in the dark ages? Okay, so that handles all of that, and we fully implemented that. Okay, so next. If I run my gen right now, it should fail. Actually, it might get pretty close now that I think about it. Because over here, so right now it's blindly tacking on this. And if we had it delete that, it would work. So in the theme generator, we need it to not blindly tack on base color theme or base theme colors dot. But only in the case where it starts with the word color reference. So if we go here, we could try to hunt it down, but I left a thing that was, yeah, this thing. Okay, so if we do, boom. Okay, generate theme extension class. No, is this? Yeah, theme extensions. Better. Okay. Boom, boom. This guy does here. This is where it is blindly tacking it in. Right tree item. So really, I want to hunt down all usages of this in here. That's fine. It's just those two. Excellent. Else if, let's see. Value dot starts with that. Nope, that's not the right one. Just gonna circumvent that real quick. Grab that, slap that in, pull that out, put that in, and bippity boppity booyah. I think we're done. That was too easy. Okay. So that gets me split buttons background. That generated properly. Excellent. Okay, let's look at what else we got. That should have also gotten me. We got a lot of changes here. Make sure we got our XAML right before we get too carried away. So this is also incorrect. Split button background is doing color reference primary mid. Now this is another place where we're going to need to change this guy up. That's good. Let's see here. So I want to save myself a little trouble. I'm going to commit a handful of these changes that I know we want. That way I can just look at diffs. I want to commit this much of it. Stage selected lines. Okay. And I don't care about you, and I want you. I don't think I want you. I think I just want this deletion. So stage selected lines. Generated file, resource gen, stage, 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 stage. I want this. I want this. I want this. I want this. I don't want you. I don't want you. You're generated. You're generated. You're generated. You are test code. Generated. Work in progress. Generated. Okay. Starting work on supporting color theming. Boom. Okay, so we're gonna do that. That way I want to be able to click this revert button with impunity and not worry about losing stuff. Because that would be bad. Okay, so there's that, there's that. There's that, there's that, there's that, there's that. Isler services doesn't need to be there. Great. What are you squawking about? Use primary constructor. Oh, you're going to want a primary constructor all the things, aren't you now? Okay, sure. Why not? Why not? Now that we have it, might as well use it. Okay, so there is that, but we need to deal with in the brushes, close some of the stuff. We need to deal with the generating the light and dark theme resource dictionaries. Theme brush, migration script, built-in theme dictionaries. These ones. This is theme light, theme dark. These guys in here. This is doing that. And I believe we're hitting this case, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because we're hitting resource key, color reference, primary mid. So we just need to handle that here. Else if value starts with and you'll know the reason I'm not doing like a name of or a type is collection initialize all the things. That is I think the biggest benefit. So real quick, we're gonna let's just talk about those things real quick. C# 12 features. There are two big things inside here. So primary constructor is great. Collection expressions and inline arrays. These are the big deals. These are the ones that are going to make a big splash in your code base. Right? This is utter gold in my opinion. It is simple, but the number of times like I really like the elegance of this, and it works with dictionary. This works on custom collections as well. As long as you have something that supports initialization, the collection initializers, this just works. Oh. Okay, well done. Well done, Benjamin. I approve. I really should show that off there, shouldn't I? So going from here to being able to wait, where collection initialization. This is collection initializer. Oh, this is a collection initializer. It's not the new feature. We should add that. Not a collection expression. Yeah. Here, we'll just do, if we go here and go collection expression. Gotta fix our search up. Anyway, this is amazing. It is awesome. You can start abusing it. The biggest benefit of here is what they call the spread operator, because we hadn't overloaded this dot dot operator in C# yet. So naturally we had to find a second use for it so that we could confuse people, because now this dot dot operator can be two different things depending on context. So for those people who've seen the range and index syntax, it can be used for that. But it can also be used to spread. This is also where we would often use like the link select many call, right? That can kind of go away in some cases where you've got a couple collections and you want to flatten the collection. They call it spread like butter. Just whoop. In this case, it's more flattened like, well, spread like butter. I still like flattening the list. So, but you end up with, rather than 3 arrays, you get 1 array, and they're all spread out nicely. Something like that. The other big one, where was the, oh, the primary constructors, yes. Which I guess that one we've kind of already shown. Yes, those are the big ones to be aware of. Like, but this just makes me absolutely happy. Absolutely happy. Primary constructor. Yeah, like this. Thank you, Benjamin. Appreciate that. Okay, so I want this guy here, and then I want to do something crazy. Don't know why I indented like that. There's no reason to indent like that. Just looks funny. Okay, so this guy here, if it's a color reference, and in this case, our color reference is going to be primary mid. So what do we want it to be? What do we want it to be? I think the ideal situation of what we want, let's just go to the dark theme one and change it. So if we go, let's figure out what we want, and then we'll go beat it into submission. Be big, dark. Okay, and this was line what? 67. 67. I suppose I could have scrolled until I saw the little green thing, or the green thing on this side. It was just too obvious, so I didn't do that. Okay, and specifically these colors, this is where things get, this is also another area where things get a little weird, because the colors live in a different project entirely, which I've contemplated flattening a number of times, because I don't think we're getting much value out of it. This is accent. So if we do amber, so I think what we want is we want this guy to be like this. And then let's go and change the light one as well. And then let's just test this, because I think this works. I don't know that for a fact, but I think it works. We go here. Let's see. For CLI argument on system command line, I'm moving from dragon fruit. Is it necessary to set kind of is required property? And if so, how does that work? The docs seem to be old. So one, make sure that you're pulling your NuGet package not from NuGet.org, but from the, I'll just show you. but from the private feed. So because there is a lot, the build on Nuka.org is frankly dated. So this, you want to add this feed here into your, or I'm sorry, this feed here into your NuGet config to be able to pull it all the way in. And then if for the option itself, there is an is required flag on side of it. So on top of CLI option, arity recursive, it's not is required, it's just required. So, but setting that to true should get you the behavior you seek. Again, it's mildly awkward depending on what you're doing, because the people who set required to be true on options are by definition optional, which is why required defaults to false. But sometimes people prefer them over just straight arguments because there's a name attached to them. So, but an argument is required. Okay, so I think that works. And then let's check we don't have the split button. Well, this is awkward because now I'm adding split button in on a branch where split button doesn't exist. I don't really have a strong preference. It depends on, it's kind of API specific, and I think it varies from thing to thing. It can be okay to have required options when it would not be obvious from the command what the value means. So if there is value in the name providing clarity, it's perfectly valid to use. If the name does not add any additional clarity, just make an argument. We're gonna do this anyway. So we're gonna add. So this will, I guess, work just fine. So we're gonna go over to. I guess we're gonna pick on button. Right. Let's go pick on button real quick. We'll just pick on base button. Okay. So inside of here, we want to do this. Right. So raise button. We're gonna go here. And then I want to confirm that this works. Except for you should change your startup project to be the demo app, not the resource generator that you just promptly went and threw away your change on. Dang nabbit. Control Z. Build. Cancel. Hold on 1 second. Control Z. Close you. Close you. Control Z. Save. Okay, let's try this again. This time with the appropriate things added. Because if this works, we'll get a PR open, and then we can start going through these, because I want the end result of the 5.0 release to be like, I don't intend to go through and generate a ton of named brushes for every little thing, but I want there to be an answer when people say, hey, can we make the following, customizable? Because right now the answer is, yeah, just copy the template and change the whole template. That sucks. Let's see. Color reference does not contain any color. Well, that seems wrong. How did we get here? Set dark theme. Color reference, primary mid. Oh, because we didn't, yeah, because all of these properties are still of type color. So let's change those. We're gonna have to fix both of these here all at once. All right, so if thing starts with color reference, what is the actual change? We're gonna end up with a weird switch in here. Yuck, we'll deal with that in a minute. We're gonna live with the Control Z approach for the moment. So we need to change the theme class generator. Generate theme class. Boom. And I would like you to not be color. I would like you to be color reference. Yeah. This is how you know when you've done something good, because changes are easy. Okay, and then Control Z, save. Control Z, save. Okay. Oh, dang it! Changes are easy and mistakes are high. Okay, switch you to the demo app. Control Z, save. Control Z, save. Try this again. Okay, color reference does not contain. Let's see here. Wait, does this expose color outside? It does. Oh, that's so dumb. So dumb. So dumb. That's right. It's public, isn't it? We don't need to do that. Oh. Don't need to do the same thing here. That was where we were doing theme background. How about theme? That's fine. Okay. Wait, so what's the difference here? Oh, because the other one has the properties declared, it handled it. Oh, that's annoying. Okay, fine, whatever. Generator be dumb. Let's see. Contrasting foreground color. I think we're gonna invert this. No, we're gonna go if white, return dark, otherwise turn light. There, that'll, I think, be better. Valid color reference. So we are going to apply theme colors. What's going on here? So this access the getter. This access the getter. Oh, but we haven't updated these things to be appropriately generated either. Ugh. Okay. Remember how I said changes are easy? I'm discovering how easy they really are. So we're going to do private color reference. How do we gen this? We're gonna do this here. Field name. I want this to be underscore. Char to lower. We can do to lower invariant. It won't matter for our purposes. Property name sub 0 followed by property name 1 dot dot bank. One more command line question. For string equals parse result get value number, your .NET, if I change number 1 to be string from an int, the get value method string may be null. How is that possible if an argument and thereby required? Oh, so the reason you can get null back from a lot of those get value methods are because internally it's looking at the parse result to know what things are there. A parse result may or may not be valid. So if you're inside of like the command execution handler, you know from context that you had to have gotten past parsing appropriately. But there's nothing stopping you from getting or from getting yourself a parse result that would normally produce a parsing error and feeding in that same call. So it doesn't know at the point you're calling get value that the command result that you have is valid. So it's very possible to get a null back in that case. But if you're inside of your, like I said, if you're already inside of your execution handler, you know from context that, oh, it's required, therefore it had to have been passed. But at compile time, it can't know about what you did at runtime. So I've gone both ways on it's one of those, if you do I tend to go with the null forgiveness operator if I know that it's going to be non-null based upon where I'm using it. And the based upon where I'm using it gets to be real subjective real fast. If you're legitimately straight inside of your set action, you kind of have enough context, I think, to just null forgive yourself out of a problem. If your set action calls another method, that's where it starts to get into a gray area. It's like, well, can your other method really assume that its only caller is set action? In those cases, I may end up throwing instead. So if you're inside of set action, I think you have enough context to reasonably just null forgive it and go, yeah, there's no way that happens. Okay, and then these are going to be, let's see, gonna look like this. Actually, I probably should have done this one at a time. And then this one is going to be that. This one's going to be this. This one is going to be this. And this goes away. That looks more like that. Okay. And this is just the getter, not the complete setter. This is not that. And then what we really want is we want to look at that test property on theme that I left myself. Because what we really want the property to look like is this. Our getter really needs to look like that. Go back to brushes. Our getter needs to be, oh, too many lambdas. And then this is going to be brush dot field name semicolon. This is going to be brush dot field name gets value. And we will run the generate brushes once. We'll come over here and we will undo. We will change this to the demo app before I do anything stupid, and we will try yet again. And based on the errors, I'm going to go with I botched something. Yeah, I did not properly deal with this. Try again. There, that's a lot less red. Oh, interesting. This does get to be problematic, as these ones won't have the resolve method inside of them because they don't know about the theme class. That is interesting. Now we could pass it in. And we could make this guy public, or at least internal. And that gets us past the first part. Not that bad of an idea. Is that a Get Kraken ambassador I should see? Why, Frightened Panda? Yes, it is. Yes, it very much is. Loud and proud. I do want to point one thing out if anybody hasn't seen it. So for people who use Get Kraken, you'll note there's this cool little purple button I got up here, which is this cloud patch feature that they have been working on. So if you go and check out your experimental features, it is an experimental feature. But cloud patches. So if you imagine that you're in the middle of working on something and you just want to share it with a colleague or somebody else, assuming they're using Get Kraken, of course, you click the little button and cloud patch, test title, test message, create patch, and then we go copy cloud patch link. For kicks and giggles, we're just going to paste that straight on in, right? So if you open it, yeah, we'll do via get lens and VS Code. Open. Oh, 1 second. It is opening in the wrong thing. Yeah. Sorry, 1 second. I have to appropriately auth here real quick. Yes, open. Yes, open. Okay, you made this much harder than it needed to be. Okay, we're gonna try this one more time from scratch. I click open. I click open Get Lens. I click open. And Get Lens confirms, or VS Code confirms with me that I actually want to open it. And poof, we're in. And so I can now go through and say, oh, let's take a look at these changes. And where is this? Open file. Oh, it doesn't know where the theme thing is. Okay, fine. We'll open it and Get Kraken client. Well, it works better when you don't have the existing changes right here. But short version, it allows you to share your working changes without necessarily needing to go through the effort of create a commit, push it up, send it over, back and forth. And so it can be quite convenient. Now, at present, you will get a warning when you first click the button because it is sending your code up to Get Kraken servers. Now, they are not looking at your code. They are storing it encrypted at rest. However, some people get real twitchy about their code ending up on somebody else's server, no matter how it gets there, no matter how it's stored. So be cautious with that. There is future updates coming for this. Stay tuned. It will be cool. Yeah. Yeah, and to answer your question, Benjamin, I think to apply it, you actually have to have a clone of the repo in order for it to work nicely. but it's an area that's actively being worked on. This is why it's a preview feature and not a ready to use feature, because there's a lot of edge cases. Do you know of any Git tools that can wrap SVN? But I keep trying to use Git. Ugh. Not that can wrap. Not that can wrap. The hard part is they are fundamentally different in how they want to work. Now, we oftentimes use Git like SVN, where we more or less commit push and it's back and forth. We don't like, oftentimes that whole distributed nature of how Git can work rarely gets used, right? We built this highly distributed source control solution and then centralized it in one place. It's like, oh yeah, there's a little bit of irony in that. So I don't like, there's tools out there that will let you, like, if you have to get off of SVN and convert to Git, there are tools that'll do it and do it quite well. But I don't know of anything that'll wrap it for you. Couldn't actually apply. Oh, interesting. I wonder why. Oh, I bet you I have a theory. Hang on one second. I bet you it's because the base commit wasn't pushed. Can you grab the more color updates branch and then click the link again, Benjamin? The best time to migrate from SVN to Git was yesterday. The second best is now. I will say, when I first started out, SVN was the hotness, and we used SVN at work, and I even had my own SVN server at home that I managed with Visual SVN. Oh boy, running a Windows home server, a tiny little box. I think I still have that box. Closer now. I get the same error you got. Ugh. Okay, well, I will dig into it more and see if I can get it actually working, or I'll start submitting bug reports. One of the two. But yeah, so it was very good, and the big advantage I think I see is being able to work offline. And some people, it's like, oh, you never do that with Git. It's like, well, sometimes I do. Sometimes it's real convenient. But I will say SVN was simpler. Git has a much steeper learning curve. But company policy is they have SVN full stop meh. Yeah, that sounds like somebody's, like, that type of policy made a lot of sense about 15 years ago. It sounds like somebody made a good policy 15 years ago and never bothered to review it again. That's my theory, with knowing nothing else about the company. Pitchforks, and signs. Yes, yes, yes. Well, I shouldn't encourage pitchforks and signs. Okay. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. I don't remember where I left off here, so I'm gonna just rerun this and see where it breaks. Because clearly something is going to broke. Oh, that's right. We were going to pass in the resolve method doesn't work at the top level. So we either pass, well, I guess we have to pass theme all the way in because the resolve method requires theme to actually work. So we're going to do this here. Writer, right line, writer, right line. Let's see, let's do indent. Why didn't I do indent on all of these ones? Seems dumb. The only reason this isn't blowing up. Oh, I know why. This is relative indent. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's sorry. What I mean by relative indent is because the generated class here is these are nested classes all the way down. So this gets the indent ends being here. See if I can find one that's multiple levels deep. Do I not even have any of that? There we go. Combo box into pop up. Multiple levels of nesting. So there's that. Okay, so we want a constructor. So public, let's see, and then it's going to be this guy. And then it's going to take in a theme. Oh. I got a bad idea. Got a really bad idea. No. I was going to primary constructor it. I don't think I want to, though. Because it'll gen something for me that I don't like. Nope. Resisting temptation to primary constructor all the things. Resisting temptation. Let's see. And then private theme. Row new argument null exception. I know there's new methods for this. I am aware. Okay, and then this becomes underscore theme. I don't think this quite works because I think it's going to break on my top level classes. But let's see where it gets me to. Okay, so it got pretty good. Obviously, all the invocations of new are problematic. So we need to, let's fix that real quick. Let's see. Oh, this can't do new because this isn't a static. Interesting. That would require me to make this read only and apply it at a nested level. What's the easiest way to do this syntactically? Also check up here. I assume all of these are similar problems. Yeah, this is the one I was worried about. Is this one really just needs to be this or not at all. So we'll have to deal with those. And then these ones again are this. Yeah, and this won't be available in this context either. So what is the correct way to go about doing this? Is this the appropriate thing? Just a little torn at the moment. I liked this. I did not like this constructor. I guess I kind of it's the only way that's going to play nice. We're going to do one more thing here. Add this. That may be overkill. Let's look. Yeah, because it's putting an extra white space here. So that's this one really just should have been at the bottom. Okay, so there's that. That will fix the formatting. Now, the problem being, we need to know the children and appropriately initialize them here. because we aren't going to be able to do this. Unintended. So that goes away. But what we can do is we can take this guy here, because we've already got a tree structure. And actually, that means we do need a store theme for the resolve calls. And then I need this amount of white space to go here. And this needs to be, because that's type, namespace name, gets new theme. That goes like that. And that fixes the uninitialized nature of it. So I think that gets me most of them, aside from the top level. Okay, good. So we're down to just the top. Yeah, so that if we go and look at like combo box pop-up, theme like combo box has a pop-ups, does the needful. Okay, aside from an extra white space. I know it's a minor thing. But it bothers me. Must have it be pretty. I'm going to generate code, darn it. It's going to look like Purdy code. I want it to look like Copilot wrote it, or at least like I did. Okay, so that handles that. So now we just need to deal with the top level ones where we have to deal with this. And we need a top level constructor. So how do we find top level? So top level item. Let's see. If it tree item dot. What do my tree items have? I don't remember. I built this, and then I've forgotten what exists in it. Oh, collection initialize. Ready? Here's the other one. Oh, mwah. From 4 or 5 characters to 2 characters. Wonderful. Yeah. As you can see, it's horribly complicated. Boom. Such small improvements. The code has gotten such smaller. Okay, so this thing here. I guess we technically know it from indent level. We start at 0. We also know it based upon if the name is null or white space or not. We've got 2 ways to check it. I kind of like this one. It's only a problem there. So maybe we just conditional this. If string is null or white space on free item dot name. I kind of like. Let's do this. Public bool is top level. I don't know if I like that. Twitch. I can't decide. Okay, so if it is null, we're going to do this, and we are going to drop this. Else, we're going to do this. Okay, that fixes that bit of the generation. And now it should just be around the need for the constructor. Okay. So we've handled all of these. Excellent, 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 excellent. Okay, so let's come back over here. This is now the entire constructor. But I'm wondering, we actually do want to generate the constructor everywhere. It's subtle, because we can do... Because I'm guessing there's an if down here. Yeah, it's got the same if down here. I think we want to... I'm going to propose the following. We get rid of this if statement altogether. We get rid of this. We get rid of this. Okay? And then here, most of this is going to come out of here and go here. So we want to generate this here. So how about we do this? Bool is top level gets. We'll do this here, and then we can collapse this logic. So, if is top level, we want to generate writer right line, and we want to go partial class theme. We don't care about any indent. We're just going to straight up do that. Okay, so that goes there. Else, we are going to generate this bit. Okay, that much works. Great. Now we generate here. We do an open curly brace, and then we do if is top level. Hold up. No. There's no way you figured that out, Copilot. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, good. My job is safe. Okay. You scared me, Copilot. You scared me as though you were going to actually do the right thing. Thankfully, not that scared. Okay, so we're going to need that. You know what? Let's do... The class definition is fine, but there's going to be a little duplication here, but I think it makes more sense to do the entire starting of the constructor. Huh? Speaking of get cracking, they're sending emails telling me that my trial has been reactivated. I'm not on a trial, so that's exciting. Okay. So instead, what we want here is we want... we don't actually... So we don't need this one. We need this one to be theme. We don't want any parameters, and we just want this. We will do all of this. We will do all of this. We will then close the constructor and write a new line. This will work flawlessly the first time. Dang it. Okay, well, flawlessly the first time may have been a stretch. That goes there, and then... string theme value gets See, you were so close. So close. No, it's either going to be this or theme. Thank you for playing along. Okay. This will work flawlessly the second try. Booyah! Okay. Why do we have a using statement? Oh, we don't need the using statement anymore because we've gotten rid of all of our references to color out of here. Okay. So gen that one more time. Take a look. Does Copilot train off of accepted code snippets? So training the AI engine requires a substantial amount of work. However, what I do know is they collect a lot of metrics about how it's performing, because you don't want to allow an agent to just blindly train off of random stuff, because then people can poison the pool, as it were. They do collect a lot of metrics. Obviously, the easy one is how often a suggestion was accepted versus not. But the other thing that they do is there's a little process that will go back, and if you accept a suggestion, they will go back a few minutes later and check if that code is still in place as is. Specifically because they want to know if somebody really did accept it and it was correct, or whether they accepted it and went back and edited it, or whether, maybe there was an accidental accept. So if you accept the suggestion and it's still there several minutes later, that will get recorded as, yep, good job, Copilot. Versus if you go through and tweak it or something, then there's, I don't know, some amount of grading of, what you did. But yes, they do report back the metrics on what's accepted and whatnot. So yeah, that much is very much there. So trained, I don't know. I suspect the answer is not. Like, there's some amount of training that goes in for the purpose of like learning your repository so that it can follow your conventions. But those are, as I understand it, layers on top, not like retrain models. So it's an overloaded sentence, but yes, ish. Okay. All of this because I didn't want to go and write the code to do this yet. And I feel like I probably should have just written the code to go and do that at this point. Like, we've now changed theme.g.cs enough times that this is probably getting close. Okay, we launched. That's a plus. Okay, okay. So now we need to check and confirm, because I think what is going on, this appears to have, because we set this up as, what did we change? I mean, because it was on the brush, we changed the foreground to the foreground color of the raised button, which is the one that gets used for the primary button here, to be the split button background. So if we go, when in doubt, we get our old trusty Snoop out. So it's going to be these mid buttons is what we're looking for here. So let's just snoop this sucker out and confirm what I think I already know. I'm pretty sure I can visually see it, but let's just confirm. So step one, check the style. Style, material design raised button. Perfect. That's the one we changed. Check the foreground property. Foreground is set to the split button background. Okay, good. Now, for the big test, we go here and we do a color thing, and we want to change. Huh? We broke something. Okay. We're going to change the primary mid color to be, I don't know, something obvious, right? If I go back here, mwah, 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 I'm happy. I'm happy. Okay. That makes me real excited. Okay, so now let's fix this thing so that when we generate it doesn't do crap. That'd be great. That'd be real great. And then we will have support for being able to plug in that stuff. And then we might go, I'm trying to decide if I leave the split button thing in here or if I take it out of the JSON file and just go add it on the other branch and rebase. Grumble, 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 don't know. Okay, so that handles that. I need the one that generates the XAML theming dictionary, which I believe is this one. What? No, not diff. Show. Thank you. Yeah, so this is here. Now, what we need to do, because right now when we run this guy, we are going to get through the value down here, which was color reference primary mid. So this is going to basically be the same as the other one. So we would like to break this up. So in that particular case, switch on value sub and actually let's do this. Private const string color reference prefix. Boom. There. Now we can just leverage this in all the places. Boom. Boom. Color reference prefix dot length. Dot dot. That. Booyah. Booyah. Okay. Let's see. Case. Ooh. Ooh, we could do this in line. No, we won't do it in line that. String resource key gets, and then we're gonna do this. Switch around. There we go. That's that. There's the magic. There's the magic. Okay, and now where'd that enum? Where did you go? I lost you, my little enum. Come back. Or and hide. I need you. This thing. I need you. Need all of you values. Where'd you go? There. Boom. Actually, let's do this. Boom. End. Oh, it's really the multi-keyboard support or the multi-cursor support in Visual Studio not as good as VS Code. Not there yet. Okay, so this, based upon what we wanted here, is going to end up being, we need to convert it into these strings. And the hard one is this primary mid one because it's going to be something ugly like that. Let's see. Just do this for the moment. Get it happy. But that would require typing accuracy that is not becoming of me. And then we're going to end up having to do a little throw here at the end because I think what we're going to do is Yeah, that'll work. Thanks, Copilot. So helpful. You're so helpful. Or I guess that was IntelliCode again. I keep giving Copilot credit for things it didn't write. I need to stop doing that. Okay, and then we just need to grab the actual things. So this is primary light. And this comes over. The primary light is there. There, we already did primary dark. And yes, I am being lazy and copying and pasting because I do not trust myself. We're going to do secondary light. Secondary. We could probably have changed up the enum value so that these things aligned a little nicer, but I don't mind having these types of little maps. Especially since they're going to throw if they are ever out of sync. So it's like, man. Okay, so now I shouldn't have to do my undos anymore. So we can save this guy. And now when I run, he should also have he went back. Why did you go back? Oh, because even though I created this resource key, I didn't bother to use it anywhere. So that's not a very useful bit of code. So solution, Kevin's not a moron. Okay, better. Okay, so now I think we have complete support for theme color references pointed to color themes. That was complicated. But I think I'm happy with where it landed. Let's do do we need to test it? I almost wonder if the answer is yes. It's one of those, how much testing do you need to do on this? Let's see, this is UI tests. Or do we just write a couple of tests directly and call it a day? Because I think what we really are after is I want to make sure the resolve method works. What do you think of ASP boilerplate? There is... Actually, maybe I'm going to think before I open my mouth too much on this. It's not as bad as I have seen in other frameworks. Because there's a big trade-off between features that you get and how much code you have to write. And to some degree, old ASP.NET, like the MVC stuff, there was a decent amount of boilerplate. But a lot of it you got generated for you for free with your new project template. And you didn't need to do much addition of boilerplate, which was good. And with the, what is the flat method things? They've got newer syntax for people who are coming from like a Python type Flask environment type situation, where they're used to just saying, hey, I want to declare a route and a method and do all the magic for me. And that all just works right out of the gate. And actually, okay, this is one of the coolest things ever. This is something that got announced back at Ignite. Can I just... I'm so confused. I can't even make an API endpoint. Oh, interesting. Okay. Give me a second. We can go spin something real quick. This is, I think, the coolest thing that came out of Ignite was .NET Aspire. This is if you are trying to build something cloud first, ready to go, this is freaking awesome. Absolutely awesome. It's opinionated. It's a good opinion. And it just works. And you can almost think of it as a new project template ready to go with a lot of stuff already built in with like poly and basically to do everything right. Oh man, it is absolute gold. Absolute gold. Okay. What type of ASP.NET project are you building? Is this just web API? Is this MVC, or what are you going for? Just web API. Okay. Let me see here real quick. If we go here, make dir web API example, cd .NET new. I don't remember my. Oh, hush now. Hush now. Quit whining. Quit whining. Fine. .NET new list. Happy? Thank you. Okay. What is the template for web API? Oh, just web API. How simple. .NET new web API. Enter. And then we open this sucker up. You'll note it doesn't. This is one of the things I don't like about some of the built-in templates. In my opinion, I like solution level templates of once I hit go, I want to be ready to go. This is good. It's just not all the way there. And that's why I liked Aspire, is it was very much ready to go. So there are a couple ways to go through and do this. This is, I'm trying to remember the name of this. The newer flat endpoint. No, it's not. Man, I am blanking on the name. But this, in theory, is all it takes. And if we go here and launch, the first time you do this, you will get a prompt asking you to install the .NET Dev certificate. It's just for the Kestrel web host. It needs, in order for HTTPS to work, it generates a developer web certificate and installs it for you. Then we hit try it out, execute. Come in here, we go, yay, we got a forecast. We hit go. And then there's a response. So, Frog, let me know. So, one, I feel like I just went straight through. Is PNet boilerplate? Okay. Perfect. Oh. Oh! Got it. Different template. Okay. Let me pull this in just a second. Random question. Sorry for the interruption. Are you in the Copilot X system? This is still not released yet, right? So I'm trying to remember what all they put in Copilot X. I believe most of this is released. Now, with that said, yes, I was in the Copilot X program. And I'm only hedging because I know that I have certain things on my account that are turned on that may not be released. So I'm going to hedge for a moment before I put my foot all the way in my mouth. Yes. Yeah, because this is what I have access to. So it bounce out of there. Compare plans. That's what I'm looking for. I believe I am in this bucket for what I end up having. So some people, if they are just on the Copilot individual, you will note that there are additional features and things that show up here. Pay no attention to. So the only reason I have 28,000 Bing points is because I have a small issue with my account where I can't get my phone number. Customer support and I are going back and forth on it. It will be fixed. But it's taken a while, and I've gotten to 28,000 in the meantime. So, yeah. So if you are seeing something like these types of features that I play with, that and you don't see them, that could be part of the reason. Okay. Startup templates. Let me take a look at this because I've seen this before. Interesting. One solution include the client. Enter CAPTCHA. Let's see. ASP.NET Core, .NET 8. Yeah, SPA sounds fine. We can do SPA with Angular. ENMS 5E. This is what I need AI for. Read this. Thank you. Your project is being created and downloaded. Oh, thank you. Download my project. How long is the content size? Does the whole source code fit in so it can leverage it? No. Especially for large projects, I don't think we are anywhere close to getting the entire context of your source code put in. That's to some degree a little bit of the magic behind how it's working, is being able to feed it in appropriately. Because in a lot of cases, it doesn't need to read the entire context. And that's also why it can be stupid at times, is it doesn't know everything about your code, but it can look at it and start getting like your naming conventions and things figured out. So I don't think the context size is anything bigger than what you'd get in like GPT 3.5 Turbo, which is, I don't remember, in the single digit thousands of tokens. Okay, so let's take a look here. So this guy here, set a startup project. Yeah. Okay, and IIS Express. Let's not do IIS Express. Let's do Kestrel. Yeah, no problem. But yes, it can look at your current project to be able to learn and go through from it. And people do panic because they assume that somehow the information about your project is making it back to OpenAI or similar. That is not the case. It is your data. It is your code base. Microsoft is very aware of the idea that if you start, like exfilling someone's code, that's basically virus level, and that would piss everyone off. And so that would be bad. Okay. Verify the instance name and SQL Server is found. Oh yeah. Okay. So, wow. This is interesting. With DB context. Yeah, wow. Yeah, you have to link to database. Yeah, I'm realizing that. Yeah, I might have to the app settings.json. Yeah. There. Boom. And then update database. So that's fine. Looks like a local DB instance. No. Then update database. I assume from, where's my... But where is my... oh, developer PowerShell. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you. Get me in. Because you run update database from the root or from the database project? Package Manager console. I think if we just go entity framework, yeah. So let's see here. So cd source, cd application core, entity framework core. Okay, fine. Fine, I will switch. CD. Oh. Database. No, DB context was entity framework core. What? It found no host. Entity framework. Isn't that where I am? Entity framework core. Default project. Okay. Feeling stupid here. Code default project, because I'm in the entity framework core directory. Is confused what it's asking me to do. In the console. That's where I'm currently located. Update database. Just under no issues found. No DB contacts found in Kabut test core. Oh, interesting. Why did it? The drop down default project. Oh, I got you. I got you. Okay, that's why I'm an idiot. Got it. Thank you. Sitting here staring at this going, what am I doing wrong? Yeah. Yeah, I've seen this before and I've seen people look at it, and there was one project that I was on where they were close the developer one, where there was a team member that was evaluating using this, and it was interesting because it's like, yeah, it seems good. Somebody has taken a very opinionated stance, but seems good and is good are not always the same thing. Did I run too quickly? Just assumed it was done. Let's see. Network related established connection SQL Server. Oh, so it wants. Oh, cannot open a connection to SQL Server. You have to make a database, I guess. Oh, yeah. Oh, yuck. Okay, tell you what. We may circle back to this in a little bit. I want to get my PR on the other thing open. I have gone through and played with it before, but it like I said, it's been a little while since we evaluated it for a project because there was a talk of needing to do multi-tenancy, which is non-trivial to do kind of by yourself because you get no help out of the box. You build it yourself, which is not overly great. Okay, sorry. So I was doing theme CS, and I wanted to validate a handful of things here. So this is under main project theme. Stars the documentation is very confusing. Yeah, I can believe that. It was not obvious when I looked at it before of exactly what was expected to work. Um, so let's at least go here and do, because there's let's see, theme tests. Because there's a handful of things that I want to make sure work on this. They don't we don't need them to be advanced, but I do need them. Public void can read or can set foreground with color. That's remarkably good. Copilot, you are, this is why I don't want this to be test color. I want this to be foreground. And in fact, the fact that test color still exists is a bug, in my opinion. Should not have left that in. There. And then we come back here, and I want to just, we're going to pick on foreground for the moment. And then we want to say foreground. Let's see. Cannot convert from color reference to system date time. Huh? Visual Studio, what do you think is a date time object in this? I'm sorry, Visual Studio, you're getting screenshotted for this because that's funny. That is funny. Last I checked, let me just make sure the foreground property didn't change to a date time. Yeah, it didn't. Okay, good. I mean, that's argument 2 cannot convert. Yeah, like what? I have to believe. Okay, I bet you we fix it if we do this. I'm willing to the implicit conversion. It doesn't know the right thing to convert from. Now the fact that it landed on date time is a little awkward. It's a reminder that it's time for your date. Okay. Can set foreground with how about theme color reference? Right. So we want to do theme color reference, primary mid, and we want this to be red because this is the primary color. Yeah. Okay. So imagine new programmers ready. Yeah. Let's see. No, see, Copilot, public void can set. I don't need to test all of them because they're all generated. I just want to make sure the syntax stays working with color reference. Okay, write the method for me, Copilot. Come on. Come on. Nothing? Nothing? You're not going to... So I always forget what the trigger inline suggestion. That is not what I want, Copilot. You... Okay, I told you. Color reference. I told you what I wanted. Just... let's see. Let's see. We want to do theme, color, reference, primary mid. Oh, actually, I think I want to do color, reference, primary mid. I think I want to do this. And do that. there anything else worth testing? I think this is all good. I don't know how to write tests. Actually, so testing is one of those areas that is a kind of a passion area of mine. One second. I if you want more uh don't you worry. Hang on. Your favorite content creator has links. I just need to find them. I really should keep a list of these. Um this one. This one here is one of my favorites. Share copy. So this one is very much one of my favorites. There is another one here that I did that I really liked. And then, especially for people who are diving in and doing like ASP.NET Core type stuff and testing, that one there is a good resource as well. Okay, cool. All of those tests pass. Yay. Okay. And it's worth noting, like, we write tests with a unit testing framework, but that doesn't make everything a unit test, and not all unit tests are the same, right? In this case, I have written these tests less around getting the test to pass, but I mean, like, the behavior is important, but it's more around the idea of making sure that this compiles and works the way I expect, because this is it's the reason I'm not bothering to test every property. I've auto-generated all of these, and when you're writing a test, you really need to ask the question, what type of bug am I trying to prevent, right? If you're trying to write a pinning test, oh, test it right there. Oh, good. And by the way, if you've got feedback for it, feel free to let me know. I keep wanting to do more related stuff, so if that is interesting, I really like doing testing stuff. At some point, I want to go through and do kind of a full auto mocker one. There was a very interesting post that came out on the app formerly known as Twitter, that there was somebody who made a comment that said, I'm trying to remember the word he used. I call them simulators. He had a different word for them. Fakes, doubles, similar, over mocks. And I agree with him, but everybody jumped on him. And it was he posted a thing about how there was a really ugly looking test. And to his credit, I kind of agree that the test looked mildly ugly, but it looks the way a lot of people write tests, because most people write the code first and then go and write the test, and they basically test the implementation that they just wrote and then question why they're writing test, which is a valid question. There is a concept called test-driven development and I think that was kind of the one in the test it right type approach, where I tried to hammer home the idea of TDD, if you rather than test-driven development, test-driven design, using the test to design the code rather than to just develop it, which is sort of what we had done here, where I had thrown together the API that I wanted, and then we beat the code into submission until it actually works. Test stuff is involved in real use cases. Yes, and that's usually the critique of mocks, is you're not testing the real thing, therefore what are you actually testing? And I think that is a valid critique. As an author of AutoMocker, or I should say one of the maintainers of it, I think it gets overused. and I'm one of the maintainers, so I feel like I get to say that. I think we're good here. I think we're good. Where did my Kraken go? Kraken, where are you? Claim to be here, but I don't see you. Close and reopen? What window are you on? This is how you know when you have too many monitors, when you can't find the window you seek. Or something else is sitting on top of it. Been having this problem recently where I think it's an Explorer issue. Kraken, where are you? There. Why were you hiding from me? Okay. That's a good change. That is a change we aren't going to keep. That is a change we are going to keep. So specifically, the change we are not going to keep is going to be the JSON file change. I am going to quickly copy it out because I think we are going to end up putting a variant of it. I need like VS Code. I need my clipboard. Oh, here's a cool thing. Here, I'm going to show this. In case people missed it, Notepad got an update. An update. Something we have never seen in many, many years. But why are my windows just disappearing? Hello? Okay, I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so, watch this. Paste. Now, observe the following. I have not saved. I'm going to close Notepad. All right? We open Notepad back up. Yes, people like this was a feature Notepad++ has had for I think since before I was writing code. It has the transient tab feature where it just will reload. It has dark theme. It has tabs. Notepad got an update. Yeah. So for those people who have been using Notepad++ simply because it would keep tabs open and remember your files, Notepad can now do it. Can it show line endings though? Oh, see now you are asking for a lot. We just got tabs. I highly doubt it. I don't think they gave it all that many features. I think this was literally for the top one. Yeah. So conveniently, Notepad now has that. So if you use it as a secondary clipboard, like I occasionally do, it now works for that. Okay, we should probably, before I get too carried away, we deleted that. We're going to regen so that I don't, just so now that I deleted the brush off of here. Like, why? Something is up with my Explorer. It's like, and this monitor specifically, I don't know what's going on. Time for a reboot, I'm guessing. Let's see. So we made this guy internal. That's fine. This is a big mess of it works, so we're not going to worry about it. We did that. That's okay. I don't think I want to keep this for now. We did all of that effort so that we didn't need to do that. Okay. Oh, brushes.cs. We need to go fix that up. Because we created this guy, which means we can now. That's fine. But this is what I want. Color reference prefix. Boom, done. Now, my clipboard history have unlimited history because I use that way too much. I mean, that has gotten some love in recent updates. So for anybody unfamiliar with it, just press Windows key C, and if you don't have the multi-clipboard feature enabled, it will prompt you to enable it. Let's see. All of those things are fine. Let's see. Finished support for color references. And then, actually, we don't even need to do that. Amend, adding support for color references in themes. Boom. See that? Easy mode. And now we're going to just double check this and make sure we should add in here bumped demos to net 8. That's going to break my pipeline, so we're going to go fix that. I just want to double check the changes in here before I get too carried away. That is, yeah, so great question. I have been using it for, I think, probably the last 3.5 years. I think what I will say is it depends on it, as far as features go. It depends on what you value on Fork. I will not say Kraken is bug free or has great features. Well, it has a lot of great features, but there are other tools that have different variations of features. So, for example, a common one that comes up is like when you are doing a rebase in Git Kraken, you get the same level of features as what you would get in terms of the merging if you did it with like the CLI or similar. It's no fancier than that. Whereas some tools like JetBrains Writer, they'll do a more context-sensitive rebase to try to help things play out. Great. Like, so is that bad? No, they're surfacing that same information. Does it give you the additional help that some of the other tools have? Not quite. I'm not aware of any features Fork has that Git Kraken doesn't. I actually did a trying to videos. Yeah. No. This guy may be a little biased. Fork was on the list here. So if you want to see me go through and compare, I basically run through just a kind of common workflows of showing how you do it in each. And bear in mind that was a little over a year ago that I recorded that, so any updates they've done since then are not obviously included. And so it's there's obviously been changes in all of the tools since then, but hopefully I did each of them justice, because I tried to make sure that I spent enough time with each of the other tools to make sure that people weren't going to go, oh, you're just an idiot and you don't know how to use them. I'm like, no, I understand. I like to think I understand Git, and I like to think that I understood it well enough to test other tools in common workflows. But yeah, the rebase is really nice. The UI interaction, I don't know how people do Git without some sort of visual representation. I do not understand people who can somehow grok the commit graph in their head. That does not make sense to me. This type of picture, and the interactive rebase is great, and Git Kraken has been putting a lot of effort into adding quite a few dev tools. They've even been going to the effort of their terminal stuff, and I'll show one more thing off. Nope, not that. Just get kraken.dev. So there is a lot of stuff in there. Where is did they move it? Where did it go? Guys, I think you moved it. They had a cool thing. Yeah, I guess they just moved it straight to getkraken.com. But they've been trying to kind of rebrand themselves rather than just a Git GUI. They want it to be a more integrated development experience, specifically around collaboration. So they are, to some degree, it's trying to push their SKU plans for like teams or enterprise. For reference, right now, 50% off. Get Kraken Pro at only $4 a month. So if you want a cheap deal on it, it's really cheap right now. And you can always try them for free. I forget how long it is. The 30 days, week, something like that. But you can always play with them for a little bit and just to see if it actually does what you want. But there's a lot of cool stuff coming for the client, the CLI, and trying to kind of bring all of this together. That's kind of like with the cloud patches that I attempted to show earlier, the idea of giving that level of collaboration to people. Branding is top tier. Yeah, get Kraken. They have a lot of people doing a lot of branding level stuff. Yeah, and yeah, I agree. CLI users are a bit different, and not to say that Fork is bad by any means, because Fork is actually this this is I believe a husband and wife crew that build this, and remarkably well. Like of all, because there is a handful of Git tools out there that are not worth your time. Like Fork is not one of them. Fork is actually like, if somebody comes up and tells me, yeah, I really like Fork as my Git client, I got no objections. Like it is a reasonable and well-built tool. So no problem there. Sometimes I think, especially the tools that are very heavy multi-platform, I think Mac gets to influence the design a little bit, and I kind of like my opinion, Git Kraken's just purdy. Yeah, I think it is built with WPF if I remember correctly as well. So more points for WPF. Let's do this. Let's go and fix because I assume I have to fix my pipeline real quick. Build artifacts. Oh, no, we're good. Done. Okay. One of my favorite Git Kraken toys. I'm going to just delete this branch real quick. Okay. I pushed it before. I'm going to whack it. Boom. Okay. So, local branch, haven't pushed. Git Kraken is an Electron app, which is how it's supported on Linux, Mac, Windows, etc. And you get a very similar look and feel across all of them. So local branch, drag, drop, push, and start PR. Tell it which remote you want to push to, because I've got too many remotes and it's like, I don't know which one you want. And then you go create pull request. And I'm done. Way too easy. Boom, boom. And then I'm going to pump it onto the milestone. And we'll let that guy just roll. And this will take a little bit because all the PRs have to go through a gambit of tests. But as occasionally annoying as my test suite is, it does catch everything. Okay, real quick. I am going to, there's one other thing I wanted to do, because it is getting somewhat late for me, but I want to go through and see, since most people weren't around earlier, let me, if I can remember where the heck I put it. Streaming, brain teaser. Okay. I'll try to make it big for people. Okay, here's the problem. 3395, is that the issue number? How many years do you maintain that repo? I think I've been the maintainer for the material design project for 5-ish years. Give or take a little bit. Something in that vein. So, here's the question. This code can throw a no reference exception. Where? That is the question of the day. Mostly because I wrote code somewhat similar to this earlier this week, and it bit me, and it threw a no ref, and I stared at it, and then I went, oh, I'm an idiot. And then I fixed it. And then I promptly went, hang on, before I completely fix it, we should reformat this so that it shows up nicely. Get temp path can be null. No, in this case, get temp path was returning a non-null value for me. So that was perfectly fine. Yeah. And we will, I can actually, I think I've got a little temp project sitting over here where we can go and play with this real quick. Oh, sorry, not trying to cover it up. Whoop. Let Visual Studio do its thing for a minute, and then I'm going to steal that window. Let people look at that for just a moment, and I will demonstrate where this is. Okay, so I'm going to all about output location prop and let's see. Fallback output location prop and null when build out function is called. Correct, Alex. Wonderful. Sorry, I had to read that a couple times, but yes, that is absolutely correct. So here is the kicker of what is important to understand here. When you do the initializers for your properties, these are invoked inside static context. So when the class is first being initialized, these things are invoked, and they're invoked in, I believe the C# spec calls it text order, i.e. top to bottom. And so what ends up happening is it calls build output here, but we haven't actually initialized fallback output location. So in the event that the environment variable is not set and we fall into the null case here, fallback output location dot value, well, this lazy is still null, so the dot value throws a null reference exception. So yeah, don't do that. So simple solution. You move this guy above this guy and it works flawlessly. Or you refactor the code so that you don't have that weird ordering problem. Yeah, it's one of those, the order of operation rarely is that big of an issue. What? Failed to compile. Didn't we just build it a second ago? It's error prone. Yeah. Yeah, and that could be caught by flow analysis, and it wouldn't shock me if certain tools or additional checks would have caught it, but I didn't catch it until I hit F5, and then it went boom. Let's see. Let's see. Is light color? Because this is, I think what we're gonna do is this. Because if this is not set, I kind of want it to just throw. We'll do that instead. Is that with nullable enabled? Yeah, so I assume the brain teaser, but yes, that was with nullable reference type enabled. Are you still running ReSharper? I don't run ReSharper currently. It's a bit of a judgment call. I really like its additional analysis that it does, but I was having a hard time because ReSharper is a bit of a pig. It likes resources and likes all the resources. And so I amend and push. And so I ended up deciding that it wasn't worth the hit to productivity to have it. But again, mild judgment call, and insert everybody who talks about writer here. They very much love it. Time. Let me look, Alex. Yeah, there is some refactoring ways to go about dealing with that so that it doesn't get constructed that way. The other option too is I think I'm trying to remember how I actually ended up refactoring the fix. To some degree, calling a function as a property initializer is kind of what sets you up for those types of problems, because property initializers are generally designed to be small and quick, like they're just supposed to initialize the property. If you start calling functions, you kind of you're doing more than I think is what is originally intended. Was that an open invite for us to pitch writer? Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah. Oh, hey, look. I recognize this template. It looks remarkably similar. What am I looking at, Alex? Check the project out, enum and checkboxes, because I'm going to go with here. Let's make my life easy. Open with Git Kraken. Oh, mwah. We just say that button is amazing. Oh, boo! You know worky, I know happy. Let's see. I want to. Why are you going there? No, that's where I want you to go. Thank you. And let's go back. Give me that URL. And actually, let's go here. No. You're not helping me. Browse. Temp. There. Paste. Clone. Open. And then enums was flagged. I want to show the flags as checkboxes. Okay. Never tried this. Does that work? Oh, it does. Look at that. Let's take a look. Let's see. I should probably start closing some of these down because I think I've got too many open. Okay, so let's see here. So main window, I assume. And okay, so we got a bunch of flags. Okay. And okay, so you've got the items control, flags to enumerable, is converter declared here. Take a look at the converter. Get custom attributes, goes through, rips through the things, pulls them out. Now, there, this guy here. Okay, so let's see. So most of this in here. So it pulls the values off the enum, pulls this to be able to get the description attribute, reads the value of the description attribute. Enum has flag. I don't know if you can ever get this to return false with a value from get values. Because I believe get values only get you the defined values. But goes through, builds this up. This is a list. You return the list as an enumerable. Interesting. Why as enumerable? That interests me because that's going to end up slowing things down versus just returning the list directly. But regardless, this is an items control content checkbox. I mean, this looks pretty close. Hey, What does it do when we run? Okay, I must be missing something. What doesn't work here? Oh, I see. It's the binding. Because this one actually is bound properly. And two-way binding working, but code behind. Got it. So if I go here, this guy here gens the converter, rips through the values. Pro tip: there's an overload to get values that's generic. Builds a binding, grabs the checkbox, sets the checkbox. So the converter is set there. This binding hang on, something's weird here. Because this binding is getting a converter. The IL simpler to use the overload. Oh, this one here. The big difference is the return type. What was not obvious before is this was actually causing a cast, because if you look at get values, because it's non-generic, it has to return you an array, whereas the generic one, you don't have the boxing of your value type. It can just return the actual enum values. So each checkbox, how is this binding working is what's confusing me. Because this binding, this is going through. I'm confused because this binding and this converter, this is the same converter. Oh, this is not the same converter. That's why. Okay, that's why I was confused. Okay, so this guy here grabs the target value with parameter. Right. Okay. Bitwise math. Got it. Okay. There's two converters at play. I'm too stupid to read and understand the difference. Okay. But in this guy here, the checkbox is content is the description. What is going to be the data context of each of these? The view model is the data context here. So these checkboxes, those checkboxes are going to be the same data context in both. So then your main window view model has flags here. Ah. Got it. Okay. Got it. That makes sense. Okay. Sorry. It took me a moment to grok this. Okay, so Snoop the app. So there is a subtle change between your checkboxes. So we'll just pick on fault because fault is easy, right? If we look here, this guy's checkbox, if we look at his data context, matches. This guy here, his checkbox. Data context is the flag item. So subtle difference is what's happening here, because all bindings are resolved in terms of their data, the data context of the items. In this case, you've created the checkboxes, and the data context remains your main window view model. Right. So if we look here, main window view model is the data context behind the checkbox, whereas this checkbox here Your data context is your individual flag item. The reason it's subtly shifting is because when you use an items control, each the data context of each item inside the items control is the individual object, not the parent one. So a workaround here is going to be because I don't think you want to do a is selected here. I think what you actually want to do is mirror what you did in this one here. So the kind of the normal way to work around this is with a relative source binding. So relative source, and then we can set the mode to find ancestor, and the ancestor type will do items control. If you're inside the same thing applies to like list box, list view, data grid, etc. Is oftentimes when you want to grab a context from the parent that contained the collection, you and in this case the parent that contains the collection is a little awkward because of the converter in the middle, but still the same idea. But generally you do a find ancestor, and the default constructor for relative source, if we look at this guy, he has a constructor that takes in a mode, so you can actually drop the word mode and just pass find ancestor straight to the constructor. Okay, so that gets us to there. And then to match what you did here, so we need the path here to be data context. So the data context of the items control is going to be your main window view model. And then the only other things that you did here is set converter and converter parameter. So if we grab converter, come across here, let's see, boom, we go, paste, down here, and we go, gonna get long and ugly, converter, static resource, paste. Oh, hush now, I understand. Yeah, my parameter's null. Probably shouldn't have done that while debugging. Okay. I want a setting in Visual Studio that lets me set a drag distance on these so that half a pixel doesn't make it jump out every freaking time. Okay. And then the part that gets a little awkward here is you want the value here to be your converter parameter. How are we going to get that into the converter parameter? Converter parameter doesn't easily take in that value. Trying to think of an easy way to do this, because the parameter isn't something that's necessarily easily bound. How do we get there? Because that gets us the main window. Because this is ultimately just a flag item that's coming in, and the flag item has a selected and content, and really we don't need either. We don't really need either. Don't need either. Because even though you built up these flag items inside of this converter, yeah, ideally get rid of flag item. Okay, well let's do this. While I'm in here, I'm gonna play. So the way I've done this before is the description lives at the converter, and but you still have to reach up and the oh, wait a minute. Well, we still have to get it in there is the problem. How do we get it in there? Because we have access to both bits. Okay, I'm gonna do this a little differently then. So we're gonna do this, multi, because I want to have two values. And then yeah, implement, pretty please. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna go here, and we're gonna go this, and we're gonna go here. Okay. We're gonna move this. Interesting that you're caching this here. Whatever, not gonna worry about it at the moment. Okay. So what we want is if values. Oh, and we can. Oh, please tell me, is this latest? Yes. We can do this. Uint value uint mask. Mwah. We're gonna go up here. Okay. And then I don't know, bring all. Or actually, we should probably do something like dependency property unset, which is a fancy way of saying no. Okay, and then this one here, we need to go the other direction and break this guy back apart. This is going to be. So on the convert back is going to be on the check state changed. Yeah, so this was target type. Because the value going through is going to end up being let's see, and then I'm getting this backwards. Why am I thinking so hard on this? Flagged enum coming through. Okay. Let's one step at a time. So we're gonna do, rather than editing all this stuff, we're gonna leave this alone, and we're gonna do a new one. Okay, do that. Boom. Then we're gonna do some of what you have here. We're gonna throw away the rest because I only want turn my enum. Get rid of that. We're gonna just straight return enum. Okay, we just do that and return it. Referring dependency property unset value. Okay. Do that. Go here, and we're gonna go converters, enum values, x key gets enum values. Done. Okay. This guy here becomes enum values. Okay. That gets us through there. This now becomes the namespace of that guy is just, so he's just at the root, so it's local, I think, is probably where it is. System flags. Okay. So this guy binding, and then usually what I would do here is resource enum description. We go back. Let's see. This is where we take the other one. So class enum description. We do this. We go auto implement for me, pretty please. Implement interface, and then this is where we're going to take another little bit of your code. Well, we'll take it all for the moment. We're going to go here. We're going to do enum get type, get flags attribute, and then let's see, get field. Do this because we don't need the for each. I want to grab that thing. Don't need this. We don't need this. Think those are equivalent. Dependency property, unset value. Let's see, and then we don't need any of this. We can do if. Yeah, that'll work. Thanks, Copilot. Appreciate that. Okay, so we go here, here, back to here. Then we go up here. We go converters, enum description. Come down here, and we go enum description. Okay, so that gets us to there. I'm going to just cut this for the moment. I just want to make sure that much works for me. Okay, that I believe looks correct. Obviously the is checked isn't bound, but that gets us, okay. Display wise, we're fine. Okay, now we put this back. So now what we need to do is inside of this data template, we need access to two things. We need access to the data bound property that this guy is leveraging. And in this case, this line here is what's somewhat difficult to directly represent in XAML, because even though you can assign here, converter parameter can't be, it's just an auto property. It's nothing that's bindable, which is what makes this mildly interesting. It's interesting. Trying to think if there's a cleaner way other than the multi-value binding. Because inside of the XAML, we want to use both the data context of the items control as well as the this for our binding. Because you'll note this binding here is implicitly just doing the targeting current context, which is path period, which is the default, which is why we can omit it. That gets us to there. And actually, I think yeah, you've got the default set up. Oh. Which I think if you do this, that'll get you, because that should be the default as well. That binding's going to fail, but that's okay. Oh, no reference. Not okay because it's going to crash. Like enum bool converter. Is there a cleaner way of doing this? I don't think there is. Because you actually want to bind not to data context. You want to bind because on one side you want the property on your main window view model. And on the other side you want, is there an easier way to do this without needing to do some wacky stuff with a multi-binding? Because that's going to be pulling an array in and out just for the purposes of having a bound parameter on a converter, which feels very, very yucky. I don't see an easier way of doing it though. I don't see an easier way of doing this. So we go to element syntax because you can't do a multi-binding in attribute syntax. So we go checkbox dot is checked. It's going to hate me for a moment. We do a multi-binding. Yeah. That is creepy and very close. Okay, so the first binding is going to be, because this data context is pointed up at items control. And I believe what we want is items control dot and whatever the name of your property is here, flags. Flags. Okay, and then the second binding is going to be the current value. So path period. Again, we could even go as far as to just do that. Won't make a difference. And then we need a our multi-converter. Okay, so this is mask. So this is, I'm going to get rid of target value for the moment because usually you don't want generally in your value converters they should be have no side effects from being invoked. So let's see. So to know if this is checked, mask is our current one, and so this is here. This will return either a true or a false. So this value coming in here is going to be if value is bool. Oh, but you don't have the whole object to set it up on the way back, because on the way back all you have is the boolean that came in, not the side parameter. Because in this case we've lost what the current one is, because we have to go back to the other value.